Hi, I'm clinical hypnotherapist and success coach Stephanie Conkle. Now, why do people procrastinate? Well, there's three good reasons why people procrastinate. I want you to think of something that you've been procrastinating on and just hold it in your mind's eye. All right, number one, the first reason why people procrastinate is because they find it too overwhelming. The task is just way too daunting and it feels heavy to them. And if you can go ahead now and close your eyes thinking about that thing that you're procrastinating on, I want you to notice where that feeling, that negative energized feeling comes up for you in your body. For me, it's right here in my chest. And I want you to imagine that you could just pluck that out of your body and set it on the table. It's going to be neutral right now. In a little bit, we're actually going to transform this energy into a positive, motivating energy for you. But for right now, we're just going to keep it neutral. I just want you to be aware of the way you feel about your project. Okay. Number two, people procrastinate because they don't think that it's going to be fun to do this task or this project and all the steps to get this project done. They just feel like it's not going to be fun. It just feels like work to them. All right. And then the third reason why people procrastinate is because there's not a big enough punishment or reward at the end of it. There's just not, they're not going to get enough benefit out of it or enough punishment. Okay. But we're going to take each of these steps one at a time, and I'm going to show you how we can actually transform those steps so that you feel better about it. And this is going to really, really help you obliterate your own procrastination. All right, so number one, feeling overwhelmed, feeling like the task is just too daunting. So if you think of, let's imagine a plate. And if you were to take the plate and you were to just break it into 100 pieces, you could actually rebuild that plate. And you would rebuild that plate one piece at a time. Better yet, let me use a better metaphor because this next metaphor is actually feels fun to do. So putting a plate together, that will get the plate put together, but it might not be fun gluing pieces of a plate together. A better metaphor to use for this is a puzzle. I want you to imagine you just got this really wonderful, maybe it's I don't know, 10,000 pieces. Now 10,000 pieces, that seems overwhelming, doesn't it? Yes, and even if I were to think that I had to sit down today and get this 10,000 piece puzzle done in one day, that would feel very overwhelming to me, and that would just be enough for me to give up on it altogether. But because I know that puzzles are fun, they're supposed to be fun, and that the whole process of putting the puzzle together is fun, I'm going to sit down and do it. First, I'm going to get organized. I'm going to put all of my corner pieces together. And then I'm going to put all of my edges together. And then I'm going to put all of the pieces that kind of look like a tree together or whatever, or that look like a castle. Okay, so obviously in my mind there's like a castle with trees in this picture. But I would have a little bit of organization in the beginning, right? Organization helps you feel better. You just get super organized before you begin the process. That way your subconscious mind starts to have a blueprint to follow. And the more of a blueprint you can put out there, the easier it'll be for your subconscious to fill in those blanks. And the more enjoyable it will be for you as well. So, maybe the first step would be to put those corner pieces out. And then I would put the edges, fill in the edges of this puzzle. And then I would just start one by one, putting the puzzle together until the pictures start to form and the picture really clears up and it becomes more vivid. That's right. Until a very beautiful picture transforms and you feel very wonderful because you accomplished this task. You put this puzzle together on your own, and it was such a satisfying feeling. That's right. Okay. So in NLP, we call this chunking down. It's where you take a big, overwhelming task and you just chunk it down into small pieces. You just do it one little tiny baby step at a time, one baby step at a time, because it doesn't feel overwhelming. And when we don't feel overwhelmed, then it's very simple, very easy for us to do. It helps motivate us to do it. So maybe, let's say somebody's overwhelming task is to write a book. So if they were just thinking, oh man, I gotta sit down and write this whole book, and it's gotta have, it's gotta sound amazing, and it's gotta be, edited and spell checked, and it has to have a beautiful cover on it, and it has to be laid out just right. If they're thinking about all of that, and that all of that has to get done immediately, then that's going to feel very overwhelming to them. But if they just think, okay, all I have to do is write, maybe one chapter tonight. One chapter might feel easy to them. But to some people, even one chapter feels overwhelming. So if that feels overwhelming to you, then just think to yourself, okay, I only have to write one paragraph, or I only need to write one sentence. When I write one sentence, then the rest of the paragraph will write itself. And once one paragraph writes itself, then the next paragraph will write itself, and then the next one, and then the next one, until the entire chapter is written. Because what happens is when we start a project, we build momentum. And just by telling ourselves that we'll sit down and we'll just write one sentence, if we get that one sentence written and we decide, okay, that's it, I'm done for the day, that's fine. We can pat ourselves on the back because we accomplished that task. However, if we sit down to write that sentence and then the next sentence just pops in our mind, we'll just go ahead and write that too. And then the next one, and then the next one, until this momentum gets started. And we can just allow the momentum to carry us, because the momentum is the inspiration and it's the fun that we have as we're doing this. Okay. So whatever it is that you've been procrastinating on, I just want you to chunk it down into a very small piece. And taking a piece of paper, I want you to write down the very first baby step that you're going to do on your project. So if it's writing a book, then maybe say, I'm going to write one sentence of this book. All right. I also want you to put a start date. I'm going to write one sentence of this book tonight, starting tonight, or starting this weekend. Okay, whenever is good for you, but it's very important to put that deadline on there, because that also helps to build the structure of, or that blueprint for your subconscious mind to fill in. So it's very important to write it down, okay, and write down that start date. The very next thing I want you to do now, while thinking about your project, is I want you to think about how you can make it fun. So that's step number 2, is make this fun while you're doing it, while you're working. So for me, when I fold laundry, just folding laundry in and of itself is really not fun for me. However, I can make it fun, because I can bring that laundry basket to my bedroom and I can listen to Hypnosis podcast or TED Talks, and just really take that time for myself to do the things that I normally don't have a lot of time to do. And so I can start looking forward to doing the laundry, because I know that while I'm doing the laundry, I also give myself that time to listen to those podcasts or watch those TV shows or movies that I just simply don't have time for. Another plus to that is that my children oftentimes leave me alone during that time, because they'll know that I'll recruit them to fold. So at this time, they're hiding. So I actually get a little bit of a break for myself, which is always nice. So find a way for yourself to make your project fun. And you can just brainstorm different ideas, but think of a way that would make it fun for you. So let's say that you need to get to the gym and you want to run on the treadmill for an hour. Well, running on the treadmill for an hour probably feels very overwhelming. But if you say to yourself, okay, I'm just going to put on my gym clothes. Well, that's easy to do. Once you get your gym clothes on, then you may feel motivated to get to the gym and just tell yourself, I'm only going to go on the treadmill for 15 minutes. I only have to do 15 minutes. Once you do 15 minutes, you can pat yourself on the back and be done with it. Or if you feel that momentum to keep going, then you can keep going. And to help you keep going, now you can play a game. So now you can say, I'm going to get to the mile marker or the 2-mile marker or whatever it is for you to make it fun. Or even while you're on the treadmill, you can be listening to podcasts or books on tape, or some gyms have TVs that you can watch. So you can actually make it fun for yourself. All right. The third reason why people procrastinate is because they don't have a big enough motivating reason to accomplish the task. So, people respond to punishment or reward. Now, for that person writing that book, maybe their motivating reason to write that book is to help hundreds and hundreds or thousands of people. You glean information from this book that they're writing, okay, that would help them in some way. So maybe that's a good enough reason for them to write this book. Or maybe their big motivating reason to write the book is because they're going to sell lots of copies and they're going to make a lot of passive income off of it. Okay, but let's say if that's not a good enough motivating reason, then they need to create one. And you too, I want you to think of what your big motivating reason to have this done, and go ahead and write that down as number 3. Write down your motivating reason. I also want you to write down if it's not a good enough reason, I want you to write down a reward that you can give yourself, or punishment. That's up to you. Some people respond better to punishment, others to reward. I happen to respond better to reward. So maybe that's giving yourself a steak dinner or a day at the spa once this is completed. Or a punishment might be you have to go on social media and advertise that you didn't get this thing finished. I don't know. Whatever that would be for you, I want you to go ahead and put that down. And I also want you to write down a due date. A day when this, or at least a projected due date. It can be flexible. It's okay. Just a projected due date for when you want this task accomplished. Okay. So my big motivating reason for having the laundry done is so in the mornings I can get my children up out of bed very easily, and just know that they have fresh, clean clothes. So it just doesn't become this big chore, this big task, and I'm running around trying to find clothes and trying to get them out to the bus on time. That's very stressful for me. It's better if I already have their clothes washed and folded and laid out for them to have for the next morning. So it gives me a peace of mind to have this laundry done. All right. But if I was doing a bigger project, maybe I would give myself a bigger reward. So maybe that would be giving myself, an hour massage or a day at the spa or steak dinner or something like that. But I want you to think for yourself what that reason is. You should have already written it down by now, and also write down that due date. Okay. Let me give you a moment to just finish doing that. And once you're done with that, if you need to actually pause the recording and come back, then please do that. This is very important for you to not just watch this video, but to write it down. So people who write down their goals are the ones who are the most successful and actually get them accomplished. So write down these goals. All right. Write down the steps. Now, I want you to take that ball of energy that we took out earlier. And I want you to imagine what color that ball of energy was. So for me, it came from here, and it kind of looks black, and it kind of has a grainy texture to it. It's kind of moving around a little. It's a little bit squishy, but it's just kind of this icky, negative feeling. But how do I want to feel when I'm done with this task? Close your eyes for a moment and take in a breath. And I want you to imagine that you've just finished this task that you used to procrastinate on, but now you're motivated to do. And you've just gotten it done. And imagine how wonderful that feels, and let that wonderful feeling well up into your body. And I want you to kind of see yourself or feel yourself in the future, just feeling absolutely wonderful, what you're saying about yourself, what other people are saying about you. And bring that wonderful feeling up into your body. Good. Notice where that comes up in your body, and I want you to just bring that energy into to the negative energy. The positive energy is going to just encapsulate it, and now it's going to start transforming. So my positive energy looks very like a beautiful bright white light, and now it's transforming all of this negative energy. Now it's turning colors. I should notice yours turning colors too, or feeling like it's changing, becoming more positive. Mine is like a beautiful rainbow of swirling, glittering colors. And just make that brighter, bolder, and bigger. And once it feels wonderful and amazing, I want you to just let that flow back into your body. Put that right back into wherever it came out of your body. For me, it was my chest. And just make sure it's in your body. Good. And now let that color, that feeling, that wonderful energy just come up through your entire body. All the way from the top of your head to the tips of your toes, and all points in between, just filled with this wonderful feeling of accomplishment, this feeling of success, of confidence. That's right. Good. It's such a secure feeling, and it's a peaceful feeling, and it's a relieving feeling. Good. And just breathe one more time for me. Take a clearing breath. And again, we're just locking that energy in your subconscious, processing, allowing your subconscious mind to fill in all of that, fill in that blueprint that we set up for it, right? And your subconscious mind can now start filling in those pieces for you and supporting you and helping you along the way in ways known and unknown to you. That's right. And you can just notice when that happens. And you may already feel highly motivated to get up from this recording now and to start implementing that thing that you used to procrastinate on, but now you're working on joyfully, getting it accomplished baby step by baby step until it starts to form a wonderful image and starts to materialize into the perfect thing that you need it to be for your ultimate All right, now, time to get started.